like Lions Township was $1 million last year. Lions was $1 million.
Good evening. I'd like to call to order the September 19, 2024 Lincoln Way 210 Board of Education Public Budget Hearing. Please stand if you're able for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, can you please call the roll, Ms. Davis?
Dana Berthold.
Here.
Catherine Johnson.
Here.
Joe Kostek.
Here.
Richard Lacine. Caitlin Olenek. Deidre Stokes.
Here.
Aaron Janik.
Here. We have 3 individuals signed up for public comment. The first one is Melissa Ballard.
Good evening. Good evening, board members and guests. My name is Melissa Ballard. I'm a Manhattan resident and a parent of a Lincoln Way West student. My daughter Morgan is a student in the Life program at West. She's currently a sophomore. Last year, Morgan had the opportunity to join what is referred to and what most parents know to be Special Olympics bowling. She had a great time during practices and games. This is a great social opportunity for Morgan. Bowling's just an added bonus. I was very surprised to find out when dropping off school supplies that the bowling program for Morgan would look very different this school year. Her teacher asked if we knew about the changes to bowling and that bowling would not be starting until maybe March. This was 1 week before school started. During Morgan's freshman year, bowling started shortly after the start of the school year. There was always 1 practice and 1 game per month, and this lasted all school year. It's important to know that games were only played against the other Lincoln Way schools as well as the transition program. With this new, very different change, this information was never shared by the administration. Morgan's teacher had no information as to why things were changing, nor did she have a definite answer as to when exactly bowling would begin. She did tell us that Special Olympics basketball would be added for our students. After talking with other parents, it seems that some parents had agreed to shorten bowling with the addition of Special Olympics basketball. I'm not sure parents were aware at the time that there was no intention of the bowlers to compete at the state level in the summer. This makes 0 sense to me. My first question to the board is, why does one program that is offered to students with disabilities have to be significantly shortened in order to get an additional program? Morgan is not able to play basketball. On the West website, Dr. Robbins states, and I quote, "We offer more than 70 activities and 30 different sports. Our students with disabilities have 2. Now the addition of basketball will make it 3. Previously, I mentioned that the bowling program is referred to as Special Olympics. However, it has never been the intention for students to attend the regional or state competition that other Special Olympians have the opportunity to attend. And again, our students only compete with other Lincoln Way schools and the transition program. They do not compete with any surrounding schools. The Special Olympics bowling that the staff and public think are following the guidelines of actual Special Olympics are not. Bowling is simply an intramural sport for our students with disabilities, but named Special Olympics, so we all know it's separate from the general education students. Since bowling is not following the Special Olympics criteria, there seems to be no reason to shorten the season. I spoke with Morgan's teacher, who also coaches the bowling team. She shared that if the season had not been shortened, she would definitely still be running it, although she is still coaching. I also found out that this new shortened season will include 1 game, only 1. Would this happen to any students in any general education activities or sports? The public and board need to know that we do not currently have Special Olympics. It's simply a name given to the bowling program for students with disabilities. The season was shortened to add basketball, which may or may not be considered a Special Olympics sport. Really, nothing has been shared by the administration about the reason behind any of this, although we did just receive emails about basketball today, yesterday maybe. These things may have been discussed last year with some parents, but not all parents were given the opportunity to have a conversation or a say in any of it. It is not the responsibility of other parents to share this information or to make sure others are aware. Specific information about programming should come from the school so everyone has the correct information. Parents do not have access to other parents' emails, only the school does. Again, I pose these questions to the board. Why does my daughter and her friends have to have a significantly shortened activity they enjoy in order to add another activity? Why do parents of students with disabilities always have to advocate for things students without disabilities always have accessible to them in a public school? Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next up, we have Tessa Quinlan.
Hello, board members. I'm here today for all the same reasons I've been in the past. I want to keep special services students as part of your priority list. We as a special needs community have to navigate uncharted waters who some didn't plan for the life we live. Some of us parents don't have the experience behind us how to raise a child, let alone how to raise a special needs child. So please understand, our advocating is a learn in progress as we navigate these times with our children. My consistent reason for speaking up at board meetings is to allow for awareness and a chance for Lincoln Way to build up a community that often gets forgotten, or for a better use of terms, left behind. Listen, I'm a parent who has been part of this special service process for over 15 years. Advocating for my child is a job in itself, but trying to do it for many is a feat. We as a group ask for consideration on concerns, and the majority of responses are, if a parent has a concern, please have them reach out. When will Lincoln Way give us the respect to talk as a whole community group with our concerns? Yes, we've had meetings with the Director of Special Services and Dr. Tingley during the day when many families can't attend, but it's left up to us to get the word out. As we all know, strength in numbers, but Lincoln Way does not allow for us to be strong in our advocating. We just want simple consideration. All these simple requests matter to many of our families. Something small to you may have profound effect to our families, let alone our children. Don't pacify us families with answers that provide us satisfaction in our efforts that we advocated for, but fail to disclose all the fine details that we all assumed would happen. For example, allowing Special Olympics bowling to happen, but failed to mention that there was no intention to attend state competition because it was in the summer. I'm not here as a parent whose child missed out on that opportunity, as my son does not have a competitive bone in his body, but he does appreciate the fact that people recognize him and applaud him in his efforts. So please, when providing us families information after months of back and forth emails, after meeting in person quarterly, even though we requested monthly, make sure to provide us the full scope of agenda so we can, in full confidence, make a well-informed decision on behalf of a community that tends not to speak up enough. Many families didn't agree with the shortened season of Special Olympics bowling, but it was felt by the group that in order to expand the Special Olympics sports provided by Lincoln Way, it had to be done, but under the impression a full season of competition was to be had. This seems to not be the case, and to place this responsibility on us families to get the word out about a Lincoln Way sponsored sport should not happen. Lincoln Way left it up to us families to get the word out about the meetings, these decisions that were being made, rather than leading charge for a large community that holds some stake in our Lincoln Way School District. I ask for respect for the special service students and their families that you serve, be given full disclosure on decisions Lincoln Way makes on their behalf as a whole regarding not only Special Olympics, but in regards to other discussed items of concern, not including IEP items. That is what should be left up to contacting the director directly. In today's time, technology is our friend, and Lincoln Way holds all that information for it to be shared across the board. Let me end on a very positive note. Over the past couple years, there have been some progress made, and we do see some champions amongst our teachers and paraprofessionals taking on a task that best serves our special service students. So I'd like to applaud them and give them thanks.
All right, thank you. Next up, we have Tiffany Drexel.
Hello. So I am with the Frankfort Wildcats Wrestling Club. The Wildcats are a non-for-profit youth wrestling program that's based in Frankfort Square and were established in 2010. The goal of the Wildcats is to introduce the youth in Frankfort Square and the surrounding communities to the sport of wrestling, provide training, and coordinate access to competitions. We promote the values of teamwork, sportsmanship, work ethic, and accountability on the wrestling mats and in the community. I'm here to seek approval to use empty classrooms at Lincoln Way North for practices. The Frankfurt Square Park District has informed us that the Lincoln Way High School Consolidated Marching Band has priority for the use of certain recreation areas within the Lincoln Way North facility as they prepare for the Rose Bowl appearance. We have been told our team will be allowed to continue to use the wrestling room at Lincoln Way North. However, we will no longer be able to use the gym balcony, which is our secondary practice space. Due to the growth in our program, including the addition of girls to the Wildcats, we need the secondary space to meet our practice needs safely. The Park District has told us they only have authority to permit access to certain recreation areas in Lincoln Way North. So we are respectfully asking the permission to use some of the empty classrooms and/or meeting spaces near the wrestling room so our secondary space we can hold practices. The Wildcats are insured. We will provide our own wrestling mats, so we only require the use of these unoccupied spaces. I thank you in advance for your consideration and appreciate your prompt consideration as the wrestling season opens on November 1st.
Yeah, ma'am, just call her, shoot me an email or give me a call.
Okay, I did email everyone on the board.
I didn't get that one though. See, I'm not on their list, but that's all right. I didn't say anything about Wildcats wrestling. We can fix that. We
Okay.
would only need that space in terms of inclement weather, bad weather, so that, those things we can work with.
Okay, great. Then I can
So
just.
you just get in contact with me, we'll set a calendar. I'll let you know what days, if it's not gonna work, it won't work, but we can
Wonderful.
help there.
Great, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next up on the agenda is the Student Council Presidents. We'll hear from Central first since we're on their home turf.
Hello, my name is Grace Lee. I'm a senior here at Lincoln Way Central and the Vice President of Student Council. Our President, Jameson Stockram, is at a soccer game tonight, and I'm very happy to stand in his place tonight to share the latest happenings at Lincoln Way Central. At Central, back-to-school season was a huge success with Lincoln leaders lining up to cheer on students on the first day of school. Students also kickstarted the year with an overwhelming amount of school spirit during the first day of school assembly. We had student leaders Miriam Manzella and Ethan Tuesday addressing the student body about positivity and a sense of community at Lincoln Way Central. Our student section, otherwise known as Nightmares, is under new leadership this year, and this club has already created a sense of involvement and inclusivity by supporting all of our fellow Knights. This energy was just what students needed to start an amazing school year, especially with homecoming around the corner. Students are ecstatic about next week's homecoming celebration, from spirit days to homecoming Olympics and the dance itself. Our theme, A Night Under the Lanterns, was chosen by our whole student body. This year, Student Council is bringing in some new additions, including outdoor tents and seating, a T-shaped stage, and several food trucks. Also, this fall, Central Athletics did not come to mess around. First, our very own softball player, Bella Dmitrievich, won Gatorade Player of the Year, and our school could not be prouder of our fellow Knight. Our boys soccer team has a record of 7-1, heading for their second Body Armor Sports Series championship this coming weekend. The boys cross-country team placed 8th out of 45 teams at Peoria, having runners Braden Hoff and Bryce Cunahoon place in the top 50. Our girls cross-country team placed 3rd of 20 teams at Joliet Central, having runners Bria Cunahoon, Kiara Foxell, and Mira Fortsek placing top 20. Furthermore, our girls swim and dive team did amazing at their Lincoln Way Central invite, winning first, and our diver Flynn Meyer broke our school record for diving. In girls tennis, we have a record of 9-3 and looking to improve that record against East. What a great start to fall sports it has been. In addition to athletics, our clubs and activities have been working hard for the start of the school year. Our Nightmares have been organizing student section themes and participation with the help of social media to get students excited for all sporting events. On top of that, our Lincoln Way Central TV has been on their game with numerous interviews with students and teachers to highlight their excellence and hard work on social media, and also interviewing Coach Woodburn and some key football players every Wednesday to inform students about past games and preview upcoming football games. We also have the start of a new and unique to Lincoln Way Central club this year called Legacy, where student athletes can learn leadership skills and what exactly it means to be a leader. Our first meeting was held by Dr. McNamara, where she talked about how to be leaders not only in their sport, but also for their future in different careers. Between homecoming on the horizon, a great start to fall athletics, and awesome night pride energy happening in our hallways, it's been a great couple of weeks to be a Knight, and we all look forward to all that is to come this year.
Thank you. All right, you're up next.
Good evening. My name is Elena Vargas, and I'm honored to be here on behalf of Lincoln Way East. The 2024-2025 school year is off to a fantastic start, beginning with our student council planning of the 2024 Homecoming Dance, Party on the East Coast, on Saturday, September 28th. Next week, the Griffins will be participating in Homecoming Week, which will feature our Homecoming Olympic Games, a dodgeball tournament, a scavenger hunt, and dressing up for Spirit Days. The week will end with our Homecoming Salute the Troops football game against HF on Friday, and finally our Homecoming Dance on Saturday. This year's dance will have an inside and outside area, and it will feature beach-themed decorations, a DJ with a light show, and 5 food trucks. We're looking forward to having an amazing week next week. Also in connection with Homecoming Week, we are launching the Start With Hello initiative. This program brings attention to the growing epidemic of social isolation in schools and in communities. This empowers young people to create a culture of inclusion and connectedness within their school. On Monday, September 23rd, Lincoln Way East will be giving away free cups of lemonade in an effort to encourage students to chat with one another and say hello to old and new friends. In addition to planning homecoming, the Student Council has already approved 2 new clubs, the Running Club and the American Sign Language Club. We feel very fortunate to have so many opportunities for our students to get involved. Another way we've been getting involved is through finding ways to give back to our community. Last week, Lincoln Way East hosted a Gold Out football game where we sold t-shirts to raise money and awareness to fight pediatric cancer. The Griffins raised $4,000 to help this important cause. Finally, Lincoln Way East has continued to soar academically throughout our first semester. On Tuesday, October 8th, the Griffins will induct our new class of students to the Lincoln Way East National Honor Society. These students will be recognized for their scholarship, character, leadership, and service. We know it will be a memorable night for everyone involved. Thank you, and have a great night.
Thank you. Last but not least, we'll hear from West.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Amelia Peterson, and I am the president of Student Council at Lincoln Way West. So far, this school year has been filled with so much excitement and school spirit. At the beginning of the year, we had over 100 juniors and seniors volunteer for Welcome Crew to show the freshmen around our school and teach them what it means to be a warrior. On the first day of school, we had a pep assembly in which many students created a positive atmosphere to start off the school year. We are enjoying our 2024 homecoming week at Lincoln Way West. Our theme is Disco Nights and Dazzling Lights. On Monday, we hosted Homecoming Olympics in which over 1,300 students and 100 faculty members participated in friendly competition. For the second year in a row, Student Council surprised those who attended with an amazing fireworks show. Today, we had our homecoming pep assembly to prepare everyone for the fun weekend ahead. Tomorrow night, our football team will be taking the field against Sandburg for the homecoming game. So far this year, our team has gone 3-0 in the season. Every game, the West Side student section is loud and enthusiastic to show their support for our team. The Lincoln Way West Side was even voted second in Illinois for Best Student Section. On Saturday, West will have its homecoming dance where countless students will make memories and enjoy the finale of our homecoming week. In preparation for the dance, Student Council created disco-themed decorations around the school for students and faculty members to immerse themselves in during the special night. As we head into the rest of the school year, I can't wait to see what opportunities and unforgettable memories West will offer to me and my peers. I am so fortunate and grateful that for the past 4 years, I've gotten to call myself a warrior, and that is why West is best. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, ladies. All right, next up, we are at the budget hearing portion of the meeting. We don't have anyone signed up for public comment. Mike, do you want to make any final comments on that? Or on the budget, I should say?
Thank you. Sure, so I'll make the comments now during the hearing portion rather than the action section. So we published notice of tonight's public hearing in compliance with school code, and a copy of that notice is included in your packet materials. Last month I shared I would be brief during the public hearing tonight. There are 2 documents I think are most important, and that is the budget Q&A and the changes in notes document. Those are included with the budget book detail and a cover memo. If you have any questions, feel free to ask while I highlight changes since August. The tentative budget last month included an operating surplus of roughly $520,000. It placed us at 34% fund balance at the end of the year. That surplus is now $570,490, with the fund balance percentage unchanged. Over the last month, we've refined salaries and benefits. We updated revenue lines such as CPPRT after the state published their allocations to us. We adjusted the electricity budget to account for some delayed bills, and we were able to set aside a little more money for our continued library renovations, which is great news. Finally, I did need to move nearly all interest income into the operations and maintenance fund to offset that electricity adjustment. I believe any other items mentioned in the Q&A or in the supporting notes documents are from more specific line item budgets within that book detail. That's all I plan to speak to at a high level tonight in the hearing portion. As you know, I believe in being very detailed, very transparent. The budget documents included in your packet materials tonight, I think, are pretty comprehensive, and they've been crafted with input from a lot of individuals and a lot of planning meetings. I feel confident about my recommendation tonight. At the same time, I'm happy to delve into anything further if you would like.
All right, anything for Dr. Dubeck? All right, hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to close the fiscal year. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't.
You might have mentioned this, I'm sorry. So in your overview, what is Fund 80? And is that where you move the interest income from? Is that the reason why it's a deficit?
Yes. Yeah, so to balance all the funds, tort is liability, so that's where we pay our liability insurance and everything else. The fund balance as a percentage of expenses is highest in that particular fund, and I think that we have sufficient monies in that area, and I think it's more important for us to balance and ensure we build up fund balance in the education and O&M funds where we need it. And so we've had that in a budget before. The operating budget overall is a surplus. This is just how I think strategically the money should be aligned, and that's why. It's $9,000, the full expenses, or the full fund balance, excuse me, for the fund is several $100,000, so on a scale. Yep.
Anything else? Sorry about that, Deidre.
Oh, that's okay, no problem.
With that, I would entertain a motion to close the fiscal year 2025 budget hearing.
So moved.
Do I have a second? Do we need to call the roll call, or?
It can be on the.
Yeah, can we just open the vote, please?
Voting is open. The vote is unanimous. Motion passes.
All right, moving on, we have under presentations, the Human Resources Strategic Plan Update.
So this will be Dr. Murphy and Dr. Goldie for 1 and 2, kind of the beginning of our strategic plan here over the next 5 years, but we'll have periodic updates as we go through. But Brian will go over kind of where we're at personnel-wise at the start of the year, and then Renee will talk about some curriculum initiatives here at the beginning. Brian.
Thank you. Good evening. Tonight I am going to give a brief summary of what's been going on in the world of HR. It has been a busy hiring season, beginning all the way back in February. I want to thank all of those that participated. We have over 30 people help in the interviewing process of interviewing over 200 different candidates for all the positions that we've had. So as we kind of take a deeper look into what has been going on, at the time that I put this presentation together, which was just last week, we were at 65 new employees to the district. We're now up to 75 new employees to the district. The additional 10 came in the area of the support, and I can go into a little bit further detail a little bit later. But as we look at this, we see we have a good number of teachers, support staff, and admin. I'll explain what that for, and the parentheses is in a few moments. Digging a little bit deeper into the world of our teaching staff, you can kind of see the breakdown of where our teachers were at this year. Leading the way, we hired 8 special services teachers due to the growing needs of our students in our special education department, and also a little bit of movement from teachers that may have taken positions elsewhere or from both within and outside of the district. Moving into the world of our support staff, you can kind of see where everything kind of falls in play here. You look there, we have also hired 19 paraprofessionals. Again, also supporting the needs of our students. We continue to monitor that throughout the year, making sure that we're adequately supporting the students in our buildings. The additional employees that we hired this year did fall in the world of paraprofessionals, transportation, and technology. In the world of admin, as you are aware, we've hired a new to the district this year, Director of Assessment Instruction and a Director of PPS over at the East Campus. And we had some movement from within the district as well. So new to administration are an Associate Principal and a Special Ed Coordinator. That's why that 4 was in parentheses talking about our administrators. At the beginning of the year at the Opening Institute, Dr. Tingley presented this graphic that's up on the right here. And it kind of gives an idea of where our teachers are at as far as the number of years of experience. So you can kind of see it's broken down in the quartiles, and each color band represents a different quartile. The first quartile, the lowest one, is for those teachers in their first 11 years of teaching. That represents 25% of our teaching staff. And then it kind of goes on from there. And you can kind of take a look. I like to focus in on that bottom one and the one in red. Those are teachers that are in their last 10 years of teaching here at Lincoln Way. And in that piece itself, 41 are going to be retiring in the next 4 years. Now, you see that dark blue band in the middle there. That's a big 4-year period of time as well. As we look forward to that, that's a little bit beyond, but that's going to be a lot of teachers that could potentially be retiring in that band there. So why is that important? Well, we need this information as we continue to prepare and recruit our teachers for the upcoming years, right? So what I'm looking at here is we have our retiring teachers, and what's interesting about this is that we have teachers retiring in every content area within the next 4 years. Some highlights, this year in 2025, we have 3 retiring in the world of English, and in 2027, we have 5 that are retiring in social science, and that's at one building. So what we will be doing over the next year, 2, 3, 4, 5, is making sure that we balance out the experience of our teachers so that we can make sure that we're servicing our students' needs in all areas of curriculum. So what are we doing? So some of the things that we've continued to do and some things that we're improving upon are our job postings. We've relied a lot on our district website and using our Skyward for our job postings, but now we are really hammering in on that IASA job posting website. And as I've been reaching out to the different universities, they all have their own internal postings that they like to have. So I'm in communication with the universities, and they'll be posting our positions that are available. Once we announce them, they'll be posting them on their sites as well. One new thing that we're going to be doing and getting back into the swing of things is attending job fairs at the different universities. Our first one is this fall at Illinois State University on November 12th. Looking forward to that. That one we primarily look for student teachers that are completing their stuff that maybe need to get in to fill some maternity leaves or any other leave of absences for that spring semester. We'll be duplicating that procedure in the spring, but expanding it to a wider variety of universities that are out there. Another thing that I learned just today is that there's also professional organizations that host job fairs. For the IASPA, that's the Illinois Association of School Personnel Administrators. It's a mouthful, but they host virtual job fairs, and so we will also be participating in that. We've been doing a lot of work. Our office is very busy. I couldn't do it without the support of all of the other people that have helped out. We continue to do things and get our name out there so that people understand that Lincoln Way is a destination school for teaching. I've heard that time and again as I talk to the student teaching coordinators at the various universities. We have a lot of students that want to come here, and we continue to try and recruit those students as well. That concludes my presentation. If there's any questions, I'll be happy to entertain.
Thank you, Dr. Murphy.
Yeah, no questions. I'm just, I think getting out there early, and you've done a great job. I think, even on Facebook, I've seen all of those, and people retweet them, and moms are sharing to their kids. Oh, you're doing a great job, and you're getting ahead of the game, and I think it's awesome.
Yeah, that number of the 2 different colors we will be over. So in the next 13 years, 13, 14 years, there'll be over 200 teachers turned over.
Where are we at with retention overall? Like, what's our number? Is it staying?
Our retention is relatively high. We do have some teachers that have wanted to move on to go into administrative positions elsewhere, but it's been relatively.
We've been at or above 80%.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. We have had an absolutely fantastic start to the school year academically, in many ways, but I, of course, as you know, I'm here to focus on the academics. Framing it tonight, specifically around our two strategic planning goals. Our first goal is to increase focus on real-world skills. As we have been out and about, observing teachers and popping into classrooms, we've already seen week one in one of our English 1 honors classes here at Lincoln Way Central. The students were in groups meeting each other, but also encoding vocabulary words, really working on that critical thinking process. Geometry honors over at Lincoln Way East. This one, I'm like, woo, second week of school. I walked in and they were talking about considering relationships between angles to apply congruence postulates. And I thought, wow, they haven't even been back 5 days, and we have them into it, so they're really going to it. When our clubs started meeting over at Lincoln Way West, our Environmental Action Club, actually, it's not just a club for fun, but they're there to be looking at these real-world skills and questions, did an experiment on how to find out exactly how much water is wasted if you leave the water on while you brush your teeth. There were many answers, depends on how long you actually do the brushing for. But that is them using the critical thinking process, even in their spare time in the afternoon. Looking at increasing the focus on real-world skills, I thought I would start with this. We need a baseline to look at. Our strategic plan specifically talks about increasing enrollment in dual credit coursework in career areas, but I thought I'd give you all the numbers. Similar to our AP numbers that I reviewed at the last board meeting, you can kind of see post-COVID we had a little dip, but we are back on the rise of the students wanting to challenge themselves. Where exactly are these classes? You can see our English class, we have college writing. Students take English 101 the first semester, English 102 the second semester, and we are back up on the rise. Business, you can see, has really shot up. Due to, I think, the popularity of our personal finance class. It's one of those classes whenever I am on social media, people say, why doesn't the school have classes like this? And I'm like, this is it. This is that personal finance class that everyone says we need. That's where we are at. Our Voc Ed classes, you can definitely see that we have had an increase, really starting to pick up steam in that. Our teachers, particularly in the welding classes, they gather a following. They recruit, and they have been doing some amazing things. And so we start seeing those students matriculate not just in welding 1 or 2, but welding 3, where we're starting to get them to get more credits at JJC. I also included numbers for you on some of our dual enroll programs. This is where students come here, attend their 5 classes, and then they go somewhere else. We have students in our cosmetology program who will go out and attend cosmetology school. We have a relationship as well with JJC for fire science and EMT. This year we also have one student who found the program on his own, and we gave him a go ahead and we will try this out. He goes to JJC for agricultural industrial maintenance program. He arrives at JJC every morning at 7 a.m., attends classes for 3 hours there, and then comes here and finishes his day with classes. He's loving it. So we've got some of those fabulous programs as well. Our second goal was to update the post-secondary planning process, and with that, I'm going to share with you some wonderful opportunities that we've had to build upon community partnerships so far this year. We have a new course called Career Explorations this year, and they have already had some professors out, and they have a lineup ready to go for more. Mrs. Corrine Batterman is an assistant professor at JJC from the agricultural department. She talked to the students, and they were very surprised to learn that agriculture does not only involve farming. And so she shared some experiences with them about different areas that they can look at for their future. Our cooperative education class also, this is the second or third year, I believe, of the Co-op Employer Expo. These are students who, again, attend classes here for the morning, and then they also attend career classes here, career work skills, and then in the afternoon they go and they work on the job to learn the skills. We have community partners who come in who are able to provide a list of their open positions, talk to them about their needs and qualifications, and the students can even apply on the spot. And then finally, last week, the district hosted the 210 College Fair. It's the first one we've had in quite a while. If you just take a look at that, over 125 colleges, probably over 1,000 students and parents attended. The colleges who came thought it was absolutely fantastic. The students and parents did. A huge shout out to all of our PPS departments, but especially Mr. Matt Smith. He is a college counselor here at Lincoln Way Central, who this is a passion for him, and we were very, very happy to see that all his hard work paid off for this. That's what I have so far.
Thank you. I do know that October 23rd, we're having the hands-on career fair here at Lincoln Way. Do you know anything about that?
Oh, I know tons about
Yeah,
that.
maybe you just want to touch on that real quick?
Yes, we will have during the school day for all of our students who are enrolled in what we call our career-rated related classes. So that's our business, our FACS classes, family and consumer science, ag and IT. They will come here. We have local businesses, again, coming out. They set up interactive displays, and the students can walk around and look. The opportunity is open to all of our students district-wide, but we definitely bring those particular classes who have already showed that specific interest.
Great, thanks. I know we have about 6 trades signed up too,
Great.
construction trades.
I'd like to also have big kudos to the finance class. My youngest took the personal finance class, and it actually was the key that made her become a finance major in college. And she has really been excelling. She had not ever considered finance. So the teachers, the instructors in that class that we have are phenomenal. So
I'm happy to say this is just the beginning. This is what I'm starting with as we go throughout the year. There will be more, and how we're going to promote all of these for more opportunities.
Thank you.
Thanks, Renee.
All right, next up, we have the consent agenda, items F1 through F6. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved.
second.
Any questions on anything? Hearing none, can you please open the vote?
Voting is open. The vote is unanimous. Motion passes.
Under action items, we have presentation of invoices from August 9th, 2024 through September 19th, 2024.
Motion to approve. Oh, sorry. The computer froze up on me here for a second.
Can I get a motion to approve the invoices from August 9th, 2024 through
Now
September
it's up,
19th,
yeah.
2024 in the amount of $4,958,196.38 as presented?
Thanks,
moved.
Aaron. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions? Question for you on, there was Lockport dues and various athletic entry fees. What was that for?
That's our conference. So every year, all 3 high schools have to pay for our conference dues. Lockport, prior to Lockport, Bolingbrook was the treasurer. Bolingbrook has left the conference, so now Lockport has taken that responsibility over. So every year we'll be sending a check, and they'll be holding the balance.
Got it.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Any other questions on the invoices? Nope. Hearing none, can you please open the vote?
Voting
It's
is
already
open. The vote is unanimous. Motion passes.
All right. Next up is the treasurer's report for July and August 2024.
In August, revenues, or through August, excuse me, revenues totaled $6 million and expenses $12.5 in the month. All funds cash balance on August 31st was $47.1 million. Through August 31st, 2024, Fiscal year to date, 6.7% of budgeted operating revenues received, 16.9% of budgeted operating spending has occurred. Through August 31st of last year, those comparison data were 11.3, 16.4. So the expenditures are trending appropriately. As you can see, revenues are trending behind. They are not, in actuality, trending behind. Some of that had to do with property tax receipts coming pre-June 30th, as you know, as we closed last fiscal year. And then we did receive less in July and August for those tax receipts, but I spoke to the county, and we received a big bump in the front of September. So a month from now, I think we'll be caught up. No concern from me there. Investment report through August, liquid rates remain at or near 5.4%, and several investments were locked in with varying maturity dates, which is good, because as of mid-September, we are starting to see T-bill investment rates coming down. So they're more like 4 and 3.25. We're obviously working with PMA on monitoring that. This week, for example, I did lock in a $3.2 million bill maturing in December, and that is at a 4.66. So that's something that we're navigating, and I've factored into the budget. Cash variance in August was negative $2.2 million, and that was due to capital improvement payments that hit the books. Those outgoing amounts were predicted, and as you know, last month we asked you to transfer money retroactive to June 30th into Fund 60 for those delayed invoices. Looking ahead, inflation and investment rates may both be tracking downward. I did include a hyperlink to a CPI update from PMA Financial Network, not seasonally adjusted, but it's trending closer to 2.5. And as you know, that impacts a lot of what we do operationally and financially, both revenue and expense side. So I'll be incorporating those into the upcoming 5-year financial forecast.
We don't track with core CPI, do we? I know they mention it in their report. We're just, I guess, normal CPI.
Full CPI.
Full
Yep,
CPI,
CPIU,
right.
yep.
And that comes out, when does that report come out for us for planning purposes? Do we use like a number in December? Or?
Sure. So the calendar year through December will come out mid-January, and then that calendar year CPI will be used for the subsequent levy the following. So we're always a year in arrears.
Right.
Yep.
Any idea where you think it's going to wind up?
Right now, we're year over year, we're trending 2.5. Right now, predictions are that it will not come down to the Fed's goal of 2, but I do think it's going to start coming down and get closer to that mark in the out years. So that'll be how the analysis I do, and I'll bring you in the 5-year forecast. I'll bring you a multitude of projections and kind of where I think it'll be. Yep.
Any other questions regarding the treasurer's report? Hearing none, can I get a motion to approve the treasurer's report as presented?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Can you please open the vote?
Voting is open. Vote is unanimous. Motion passes.
Next up is the student activity report for August 2024.
For the month ended August 31st, the total student activity fund balance was $2,481,219, with revenues of $410,306 and expenditures of $572,050. Only had one account in the negative, which is really good for the start of the year, because typically with purchasing of materials and supplies, so boys soccer at Central will give Coach Brown some grief, but it's back into the positive again. So currently, there are none in the negative, so that's good news.
All right, can I get a motion to approve the student activities report for August 2024 as presented? We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any questions? Hearing none, can you please open the vote?
Voting is open. Vote is unanimous. Motion passes.
Next up is the adoption of the fiscal year 2025 budget.
Included is just the resolution. Mike would be happy to answer any questions you would have, but we would need to approve the budget and the resolution as presented. If there are no other questions.
Well, hearing no other questions, can I get a motion to adopt the fiscal year 2025 budget as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Can you please open the vote?
Voting is open. The vote is unanimous. Motion passes.
Next up is the second reading for policies.
So included are the press materials. Also included is an updated org chart and then a contingency succession plan. So the org chart is something that I discussed with the board last spring, and this will kind of be an ongoing process here over the next 4 or 5 years, I'd anticipate. And then the contingency succession planning just lets the board know and the policy who's in charge if somebody isn't here or something were to happen. So updated and included both of those, as we always do, in August prior to the start of the school year.
All right, can I get a motion to approve the policies as presented?
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions? All right, I think the organizational chart has definitely changed over the years.
Yes, I think we've improved on it. One of the requests the board had made was try and get everybody on there. I think everybody's represented.
Yep.
So kind of gives the picture, and as I said, that's going to be a working document as we continue to take looks at it each and every year.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Can you please open the vote?
The vote is open. This vote is unanimous. Motion passes.
Next up is the approval of District 210 Advisory Meeting Calendar for 2024 through 2025 as presented.
So formality, we need to approve the dates for the 210 advisory, as that is a committee of the board. We have the dates on there. They will start with branding and meeting with the company that will help us with new logo, potential new logo, colors, all that stuff. So that will begin in October and probably go through December. And then there's a couple other items that I'll discuss with the board in upcoming months to see if that's something you would like the 210 to take a look at. But for the start, we'll be focusing on branding. Typically, February and March is the handbook approval process, which by law or school code, you have to have a committee do that. So that's the committee that does that as well. So I just ask that you approve this as presented.
Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions? Oh, hearing none, can you please open the vote?
Voting is open. The vote is unanimous. Motion passes.
All right, next up, we have the LWEA Memorandum of Understanding.
So this is the final action item this evening. This is just an MOU that is attached to the current bargaining agreement. You may recall in the past, we had an MOU for early release days. Prior to COVID, we would do delayed start days. That was more challenging on transportation and the discipline office, as when you take kids out of their routine start time, you're just asking for trouble. So we've had more success with the early releases. This outlines the difference between a half-school improvement day and an early release. This will just be in effect for this school year. So this would entail 4 school improvement days. These are days the teachers ask for. The teachers ask for professional development, they ask for collaboration time, they ask for these. And so this is something that we agreed, as long as they're utilized properly, that they should get. So I would ask that we approve the MOU for this year as presented.
Any questions? No? All right, hearing none, can I get a motion to approve the MOU as presented? We have a motion and a second. Can you please open the vote?
Voting is open. This motion is unanimous, or this vote is unanimous, motion passes.
All right, next up under informational items, we have the report of the Lincoln Way Special Education District 843 Governing Board meetings held August 27th, 2024.
Thank you. The Lincoln Way Co-op Board met, and one of the maybe bigger items was considering the increase of the pay for the substitutes and substitute paraprofessionals that are working within the co-op. As you know, the students are very involved, and we were trying to keep the less people from, coming in and going, and also to encourage past co-op teachers to come back and sub. So trying to get some familiar faces back around the students and making sure that they're safe. So that was one of the main reasons to look at that increase, and just to try and retain substitutes that are hard to find in general. Other than that, typical business. Good start to the year.
Great, thank you. FOIA request?
FOIA requests are included in your backup materials, and Ms. Davis has passed her FOIA certificate as well, so she is now officially helping me out with the FOIA. So she and I are handling the FOIA. She was really excited to jump in there and get going.
You might want to think about getting that. Now you're probably wishing that you didn't get that certification, right?
We have the buildings and grounds report.
Once again, included for your review.
Real quick on the
Yep.
the electricity, I know we talked about it earlier. I mean, July, it doubled year over year, roughly. Do we anticipate that being
Timing. Go
the
ahead.
rest of the year?
No, and Chuck can speak in more detail, but generally what I can say is we met with our sort of utilities broker, and some of this is the delayed invoices. So Central and North were caught up, but we're now paying 13 months in a 12-month period type of deal. And so East is still one where ComEd has changed their entire software billing structure. I'll spare you the details, but basically we're just incurring the cost late. And so that gets factored in, because what this report is trying to show is actual cost. We try to make it apples to apples best we can, but some of that we can't control. And as you can see here in August, the red means we're estimating because we still haven't received those invoices. So
Right, okay.
it's something we're chasing them on.
Got it. Okay. Solar. Next up is the community relations report,
Just once again, including your backup materials for review.
legislative report.
They did pass a bill in Springfield that allows prospective teachers to take their content area tests prior to completing certification. So that allows students to start taking those tests. In the case that they have to take them again, that gives them more time. So the idea is when they're completed with student teaching, they're ready to go. So we'll see if that helps at all with the pipeline.
Superintendent's district report.
So, something to report, we did send out an email early in the week about, potential threats of violence to school districts. And then we sent something out again today. Talked to several superintendents today in all areas of the suburbs. There are posts threatening violence to schools. We have an incredible relationship with our Will County resource officers, our detectives. There is absolutely no threat to Lincoln Way or any of their schools. I guess the two takeaways that I wanted to get out in this memo is, number one, encourage students to continue to go to trusted adults if they do see something. So we did have several kids came right down to the office and said, hey, somebody sent this to me, I'm concerned. Perfect. We go right to our resource officer, we begin the investigation. But second, do not precipitate this problem by posting, reposting, liking, doing any of that. Don't do it. That's been one of the major challenges in the whole suburb area, is that students are taking it and sending it on, sending it on, sending it on. Don't need to do that. But we're in a really good place for tomorrow. Our processes are very, very good. But once again, what's most important to me is our relationship with our local authorities and their due diligence with all the work that they do. So I don't have a concern about any of it. We'll have extra resources, as we have had this entire school year, as there's been different things going on, in our society. And they're always really great. So I just wanted to say that we did send something out again today, and we'll continue to monitor that situation. I talked to several parents today. Both my kids will be here tomorrow. And I understand, the anxiety and the angst of some of this, but our kids are really, really good. And when they do fear something or see something, they come and tell us, and we're able to act upon that.
I know you and I have talked several times this week about this. I had someone send something to me, I called you, you already knew about it, was on it. I have a daughter in junior high, I don't have any kids in high school, but we had stuff at her junior high, so.
Correct.
Talking to her about that, I mean, it's obviously, everyone's parents here, talking to your kids about those things, not sharing things, and like you said, not liking it, it's huge. 'Cause
Yes.
especially as the younger generations get phones earlier and earlier, it's
Yes.
the digital well-being and universe is gonna just be a little challenging.
Yeah, and even the piece about sending it to a friend to say, did you see this? Or
Yeah.
do you know if this is true, even if you're worried? I think that's the good reminder too, is like, don't even bother with that step. Go right to a parent, go right to the school and let them know instead of trying to figure it out and say like, should we be worried? I
Yeah.
think some of that can happen naturally. So
Yeah.
just a good reminder. So thank you for staying ahead of it.
Any other district business? Any correspondence? No. With that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn to close session to discuss student-related matters.
So moved.
All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, so we are in closed session with no action after.
Correct.